Good late afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to our regular board meeting. We are opening at this time. There was a call to order, and I would like our student board member to lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would stand and join us while Isabel does the honors.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready?
Thank you, Isabel. For those of you who have not been here during Isabel's introduction, she is a student at Cajon High School. She's a cowboy. So thank you. 1.3 is the adoption of the agenda. All right, board, let's vote. Mr. Gallo? And right now, Ms. Medina is not here. 1.4, closed session, public comments. This is the time that members of the public will be provided an opportunity to directly address the board about any item described under closed session, anticipated litigation. Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less. Individuals with comments on any other subject matter within the board's jurisdiction may address those during the regular scheduled public comments later this evening, which will be about 7 o'clock. So any comment slips? Any comments?
No, we have no comments on closed session. And just as a reminder to our folks here right now, we're going to go into a brief closed session for about 30 minutes, and we'll be back out at 6 o'clock as it's described on the agenda. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your patience, and we'll get back as soon as we can. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for your patience. I hope you had a chance to meet a new friend while we were in closed session. We will now resume and reconvene open session. 3.1, action reported from closed session.
And there were no actions taken in closed session.
Thank you. Session 4, 4.0, special presentation. And we have our Varsity San Bernardino City Unified School District Percussion Ensemble.
All right.
Thank you. And they will perform under the direction of Michael Cooper. Thank you for being here.
We'll help you with that. Yeah, we want to. There you go. We'll get you a handheld mic here. Hold on one second. We got you figured out.
I don't think that mic works.
Thank you so much. Well, we wanted to come today and thank you for having us, number one. It has been a long road paved by a lot of dedication from the students and the parents and the staff, but that road would not be possible without the support of the board. So we wanted to thank you for that, especially Mr. Tillman and Dr. Flores for hearing our concerns, absolutely. For just listening to our needs and being so supportive of the students. So if we can invite Dr. Hill and Dr. Marsden to come down, we wanted to present you our championship banner as well as the medals we received this year.
The other board members are looking at me, so can they come down also? Thank you.
Before we get started with the performance, we have some student representatives that wanted to share a couple words.
Hello, my name is Victor Torres, and I am captain of the SBCUSD Varsity Drumline. I have had the pleasure of being part of this program for the last 6 years, and luckily, I still have my senior year to go. Throughout my time in Drumline, I've learned skills that I cannot even begin to express, from leading that amazing group of kids back there that you see, to learning how to take apart those massive instruments and putting them back together again. I see Drumline as my creative outlet. When I joined my 6th grade year, I was about yay high, and I thought I was entering a cool group where kids learn to drum and jam out. But little did I know, I was signing up for brothers, sisters, and I was even signing up for a role model that I consider to be my second dad, Michael Cooper. This year, with the support of our amazing board, we were able to accomplish a dream of mine that I've had since I was a child, or a smaller child at that, making SCPA finals. With the aid of the board, we were able to show that what we were truly capable of, and I cannot begin to thank you enough, because not only did you fund our group, but you made dreams come true. Our collective dream being to show and prove that we as San Bernardino citizens, what we already know, that San Bernardino City is a name to respect and to remember. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Jose Trejo, and I am part of the JV group for Imprints 2017.
A little louder, please.
And I'm a member of the JV Imprints. And this is my 2nd year in Drumline, and I would like to thank you for everything that you've done. As most of us, when we hear the word Drumline, the first thing that might come into our heads is drums and loud sounds. That's what I thought when I was going to join. But little did I know that I was going to be part of the front ensemble, which provides the melody for the audience, and the battery provides the visual audio for the audience. Throughout this program, we build friendships that will last forever, and we build a second family that we can count on anytime we need something. Also, we learn life skills that we will need in our adulthood, like working together as a team. And nothing would have been possible without your support. You gave Varsity the opportunity to go to finals and win for both SCPA and ADLA. You gave Chavez the opportunity to go to ADLA finals, and you also gave the JV group the opportunity to go to finals for the first time. And I'd like to thank you for opening JV group, because you gave the opportunity for other kids to participate in the drumline program. Also, the money was important, but your support was even more. And on behalf of the JV group, we'd like to thank you for this program that helped us reach our potential talent in music.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Giselle Salazar, and I am part of the Cesar Chavez Middle School Drumline. This is my first year in Drumline, and I walked in not knowing what to expect, but I quickly learned that this program is an amazing experience with amazing people. This year was a huge success for all our lines. Our San Bernardino varsity line went to SCPA finals, getting 2nd place, and went to ADLA finals, receiving 1st. Our junior varsity line went to ADLA finals, receiving 5th place, and our Chavez line went to ADLA finals, receiving 1st. Although 1st place is truly a great feeling, the experience and family that you get throughout the season, it truly what makes it Drumline. Throughout our practices, I think I can speak for all the kids in our line when I say when we go to practice, we do not go to another room in our school, but we go to another home with another family.
Oh. Oh, how great.
This season, you, the board, helped us with many things throughout. You helped us with food, supplies, and uniforms, and the list goes on. But something that you truly helped us with was not something you paid for. It was your support. For this, we say thank you from our lines now and our lines that will come in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I now present to you our SB Varsity line presenting their 2017 show, La Vie en Room.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And members of the public, last time we had a drum line in, a couple members from the public requested earplugs. We do have those available on my left with Karen for those of you who may need those. So please check with Karen. She's waving her hand right now, and she has them if you need them, so help yourselves. Otherwise, let it rip. Wow.
Well, thank you so much. Let's give them another round of applause. And just want you to know we're really proud of the good work you're doing. Keep it up, and we know we're going to get more first place recognitions in the future. So thank you.
That's
I'll
right.
start down the line. Thank you. Before you leave, if you
Can
don't
you guys
get
come
too,
back? Can you guys come back?
you don't leave right now. We have a couple of people, well, 3 people who would like to share something. Dr. Wyatt, we'll start with you.
Well, some of them have went, so hopefully if they're out in the lobby, they could hear me. I'll try to keep it brief. This is the second time this has happened to me. The first time is when myself and Miss Medina were over at Richardson Prep, and I watched Advanced Orchestra, and I got a tear in my eye.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely shocked by these young men and young ladies, their performance, and you guys just did it to me again. Wow, that was
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Flores?
I just want to tell you that he got a tear in his eyes. I got joy in my heart, in my whole body. And tears of joy and love in our hearts. And you guys are incredible. No wonder you got first. Well, you could see, I could see that you were enjoying it and you were really into it, like your whole bodies and your gestures and your face. It was just fabulous, and we're so proud of you. And JV, where's the JV kids where are you at? All right. Congratulations. And where's the Chavez kids? Where are you? Stand up, Chavez kids. All right, yay. Chavez Drumline. So proud of all of you. It's very, very proud. We're so happy that we invested in you, and that's what we're all about. We're about investing in our kids. And you are an example for everyone. And the fact that you got first, Chavez first, Varsity first, and JV fifth, that's great for the first time. Next time you'll get first, eh? So anyway, we love you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Medina?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your presentation. Honestly, it was the most beautiful thing that, they said that they felt it in their body. One felt it, with the tear. I actually got the chills, and, the hairs stood up on my arms. But the thing is that I could keep on listening to that song. If you guys were to be here 4 hours, I think I would pay just to listen. And so honestly, that's how beautiful it was. Thank you so much. Here in San Bernardino, we do have a lot of talent, and it shows. And look at the talent that we have with our students here, our staff, our teachers, our parents that are dedicated. Thank you all.
I wanted
Thank
to say
you.
that too, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I wanted to say thank you to the parents, because without you, the kids wouldn't be able to do all of this. And also, thank you, Michael Cooper, where are you? And the other people that help you, I don't know your names, but I know that Michael wrote and arranged all of this, so it's fabulous. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hill. I have one question. Why did we get earplugs, is what I want to know. Literally, they had earplugs. Did you think you were going to, offend us or be too loud, or what was the drill? You didn't think we were going to enjoy it? I'm just kidding. It was great, you guys, and thanks for the earplugs. This will come in handy during board member comments.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gallo. Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, and congratulations on your first place. I want to start with that, and congratulations to Mr. Cooper and who the rest of the, because I know Sherelle's out there, the rest of the coaches that help out, and raise your hand. Thank you all for your hard work. And I'm thinking when I hear my fellow board members talk about how much they enjoyed it, just think if they got to see the whole floor show, right? Yeah. There's a whole piece to it where they do the acting and the movements and the arrangement. And I was talking to Mr. Galley, he was asking how long it's been going on. It's been going on for at least 9 years, because I know my daughter Sierra was in about 9 years ago. She's a junior in college right now. And I think the thing that you guys don't realize is, I love it because I know that the students get around other students who become high achieving. It's like magic. So, and it bleeds over into the other stuff you guys do in school in terms of your classes and the classes you choose and the choices you make in life. So it proves that if we in San Bernardino invest in our youth, we can compete with anybody throughout the state, throughout the country, right? So that's what our goal is, to keep investing in you guys, and like I tell Sierra, and like Sherelle's done. Sierra's at Cal. Where's Sherelle at? She's kind of short, so you can't see her. Stand up, Sherelle. Stand up. Are you standing up? But anyway, but she's at Cal State San Bernardino, but she still comes back to help out and coach, and she's getting ready to go abroad. Where are you going to go? Where are you going? London, for a month or something for. To learn. So congratulations, and to the parents, thank you for your patience, because this hasn't been easy. I mean, we see the performance, it looks smooth and great, but it's just like an old Motown story. Behind the scenes, there's a whole lot of chaos trying to keep it going, right? But thank you for having the patience, for allowing the district to work with you to be successful. Thanks to everybody. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Marsden?
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, if people wonder if hope can happen in San Bernardino, they need not look very far than standing right here in these shirts. So my compliments to all of you ladies and gentlemen, and the ladies and gentlemen who have taught these classes to the kids and taught them this level of excellence. That's what we're about. You know, you look at the things we're working to create for our young people, and it's happening right here. It's another example. We're just so proud of the parents and how the community comes together to support such a wonderful opportunity. Congratulations.
Thanks again. Continue practicing, doing good things, and we're looking forward to the next performance. Thank you so much.
All right.
.2, recognition of Williams Syndrome Awards Month, and I asked Dr. Marsden if he would share that.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And this is actually a time to be grateful when we look at item 4.2 in recognition of Williams Syndrome Month. Most of America, and I would say certainly even me and this room, had very little sense of what is Williams syndrome, but on April 10, and actually me personally, I learned about Williams syndrome on April 11 when I visit the home of Jonathan Martinez, and I spoke with his father, and his father grieving at the loss of this beautiful young boy, his only son, and he said, you know, if we could remember Jonathan for anything, we would really like to remember him for Williams syndrome, which is a syndrome that young Jonathan suffered from, and it took a long time to figure out what was going on. And once they finally found out what was going on, they found out what a joy and a jewel they had in this young man, and how much they would love to see others aware of what is Williams syndrome so we can support young people. So we join tonight with the month of May is the Williams Syndrome Awareness Month, and so our board, being as conscientious, has recognized this month, and I'll read it to you in terms of the resolution. Whereas May is Williams Syndrome Awareness Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness about the rare genetic condition that affects an estimated 20 to 30,000 people in the United States. And whereas North Park Elementary student Jonathan Martinez, who tragically passed away on April 10, 2017, was born with Williams syndrome, which is characterized by cardiovascular disease, developmental delays, learning disabilities, and lifelong medical problems. And whereas the Williams Syndrome Association's been working since 1982 to increase international awareness and bring valuable resources to families touched by this disorder. By the way, the Williams Syndrome leaders, when we talked to them, said never has this national organization received as much attention as they have now because of young Jonathan. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District does take this opportunity to honor the memory of third grade student Jonathan Martinez by declaring May 7, 2017 as Williams Syndrome Awareness Month, and encourages all the schools of the district to take this opportunity to express their heartfelt appreciation for Jonathan and to honor his legacy as a happy child who was social, friendly, and endearing.
So move.
All right, board, let's vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Marsden.
My pleasure.
4.3, Dr. Wyatt.
Thank you, Madam President. Recognition of Classified Employee Appreciation Week, May 21st through 27th. Whereas in order for the San Bernardino City Unified School District to run efficiently and effectively, it must depend daily on the dedication and capabilities of employees in the classified service. And whereas more than 2,500 classified employees who work in various capacities ranging from instructional aides, computer technicians, and delivery drivers to library clerks and custodians perform their duties with great pride and skill. And whereas our school district joins the state of California in setting aside May 21st through 27th, 2017 as a fitting time to honor classified employees and recognize their long and excellent service records. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District designates May 21st through 27th, 2017 to spotlight the accomplishments of our classified employees. So move.
Second. Board, let's vote. Thank you. Session 5, 5.0. Again, we just want to say to our drum line, I'm sure they're still outside. Again, thank you so much for entertaining us this evening. 5.1, consider the revocation of the Center for Learning and Unlimited Education Success, which includes charter school. And at this time, we're having a public hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And we do have a couple members of the public who wanted to comment on item 5.1. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and ask those two members to comment. And then from that point, we'll ask any of our staff or our attorney to weigh in on any conversation that's necessary for the board. So the board welcomes Dr. Susan Carroll on the topic of 5.1, and there's also Mike East. So please come at your pleasure. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Susan Carroll. I am the pastor of San Bernardino First Church of the Nazarene. We rent part of our facilities to the closed charter school. The reason I'm here today is to simply weigh in on what I call a front row view of the day-to-day interactions of the members of staff and administration of this school with young people and with families in our community. I would like to say that, according to my observation, those families are well received, treated with courtesy and respect. Young people are motivated to be educated. The families in our community derive a sense of belonging and value from having this charter school presence. Moreover, we look forward to a long-term partnership with CLUES to shape the community mindset regarding the intrinsic value of education for upward mobility and for strong communities and families. As a church, we would not in any way endorse, or allow to operate on our premises any organization that demonstrates systemic moral failure. We are assured that recent troubles in this school will be quickly and correctly handled. And as a church, we believe in second chances. By our presence here today, we affirm and look forward to a long-term relationship with the Clues Charter School, a relationship marked by integrity and service to our community in the common cause of promoting life, well-being, and the pursuit of happiness of our young people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Cole. I have received a few additional public comments on this same topic, 5.1. The board now welcomes Mike East on the topic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening.
I am the facility managers on that property. And, well, I just want to say it's been a while since I've been in school. But I know that there was continuation schools in my days that helped me to not fall through the cracks. And what I see as I glance out at this school, they are helping those children not fall through the cracks. There are children, you can tell they're new to the school at the time. They're teens that had a rough time obeying and growing up, right? Well, you can tell after they've been there a while how that school has changed their motivation, has put them in uniforms and made them obey in a way that they needed in life. And so I'm just here to stand up tall for them to say they're well taken care of there, and they're learning, and they certainly need that leadership. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. East. Board welcomes on topic 5.1 Frank Oliver. Mr. Oliver.
Good evening, board, and to our superintendent. I just want to begin to talk about, there were two things that you asked us that were outstanding items that you asked us to get in yesterday. And one of those things was the audit, which we did. And then the other thing is the retirement. And we have moved in the process of the retirement. We've been able to make sure that the board elected not to go into STRS, and the board moving into a 501k plan. Many of those teachers are already, the current teachers are in process of being set up there. Settlements have went out to the other teachers who have been a part of CLUES, who in somewhat since their retirement was not handled appropriately. And so we have taken ownership and made sure that these two things that you asked were done to make sure that there was not liability against us nor the school district of the concerns that were. And we made sure that those things was mentioned in our audit, and we also have made sure that our paperwork shows that. The other thing that I would like to say is that you will have coming up one of our premier students, Jennifer Lopez. She'll speak. Many of our other students are here. Some of our other student body students are here to talk. You'll also see that is in the crowd also is our teaching staff. And what is important about them is these are the same teachers who, with the previous administration, they were not paid for 4 to 5 months. They stayed at the school. They kept helping the students. They helped us fix the school. They helped put in the sacrifice and the time. And they're here in the audience today to say that they understand what CLUES does for those students there. We want to keep highlighting that CLUES doubled its numbers this year, that CLUES put in made sure that the fiscal management is done this year, that CLUES reduced the administration costs and brought that down this year, and that CLUES has made sure that they were transparent. And that gave us many enemies, that gave us people who were mad from the old guard, but we stood together as a family, and we're watching students' lives be changed. Again, CLUES does begin to deal with the demographic of students that we've been able to make changes. What do we do with our students who are pregnant teens and are pregnant? What do we do with our students of the homeless population? What are we doing with our students on probation? What are we doing with our students who have been neglected? And the list can go on and on about the students in which Clues has been able to take in, who has been able to change, to turn around, and to give hope to. And so we want to let you know that this is a demographic that Clues has been touching the lives. We have learned how we've moved there. And I know that this board has never had a problem with our program. Our program has shown to be stellar. The problem is which that we have had is somewhat has been administration and been fiscal. And we have worked diligently this year to make sure those things have changed, that those things will be eliminated, and that we'll never be in the same situation that Clues was again. And so I ask this board to consider these items. I ask the board to consider the changes we've made. I do ask the board to also look in detail, as we have shown, that these things are not just talk, as we've heard previously in years, but these are things that we have put into action, and we have evidence on those items. And again, those items are that you asked of us was the audit, which is in, and that audit did take time because when this new administration took over, we were left with nothing. And we made sure that we wanted to be integral in what we gave to the district. We made sure that the retirement was taken care of. And I think that it shows the faith of many of those teachers who stayed and began to work with us. They stayed because of the dedication of the students, and they're still with us now because we wanted to show transparency, integrity, and we thank them for their dedication and their time. And so I thank you at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you.
Board does welcome Ms. Jennifer Lopez. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Good evening.
I really honestly don't know where to start with this school. When I first came, I was completely lost in all of my credits and my classes. I honestly feel like I started freshman year all over again. The school has helped me out a lot. The teachers are so welcoming, and the students, they're sweet. You know, everybody knows everybody, and it's really comfortable to be able to wake up in the morning and go to a school that's welcoming, and they're very helpful, and they just make you feel like a better person and make you want to do better in life. They tell us in the morning, and they talk to us about how things are going to kind of go after high school, what happens to certain people, and how important your education is. It's actually really important. I mean, you need a high school diploma for everything nowadays, just absolutely everything, or even if you want to just be a janitor.
Yep.
I came with my boyfriend. He was going to Options for Youth, which I personally feel it's not a good enough school. This school has helped me get through a lot of classes. I feel like I'm pretty close to graduating now from where I first started.
That's great.
And it's all because the teachers are willing to sit there with you even an hour after class just to help you one-on-one. If it's needed, if it's necessary, they're there. They tell you to come in on your days even though you don't have school if you really need the help, because they're really there for you, and I appreciate it. I mean, things have been getting a little bit harder now with my son, and this school, it's the best school I've been to so far, and I haven't even lived that long. It's easier on schedule for me with my son. If he has a doctor appointment, I can come in another day or set the doctor appointment on my off day. I love this school personally. I don't know about anybody else. I mean, I see it every day, how hard the teachers are trying and how hard they're working just for us to have an education at the end of the day, just for us to learn something new. I mean, it's pretty great. That's just how I feel.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And keep going. Don't give up. Dr. Ken Witt, I hope I said that correctly. Is it White? Sorry. I'll let you correct the pronunciation, then maybe I'll get it right.
Dr. Marsdale is Dr. Whitty. And
Fantastic.
I was the original writer, and members of the board, I was the original writer for Clues, and I also did the WASC accreditation for Clues, so I've been there for quite some time. Jennifer is right, that there are kids that are in Clues that would not be in school, wouldn't stay in school if it wasn't for Clues being around. They are Clues has been effective over the years for helping out kids, no question about that. Why I'm here is because of a number of issues that were brought up in your areas of concern that are consistent and still contemporary in what's going on with Clues. The lack of communication, the lack of compliance with financial pieces, the lack of STIRS, and you stated that that's what you wanted to do, is have STIRS be the retirement fund. That was part of what the original grant was for Clues, is to have that money set aside. The differential between STIRS and any other retirement fund is substantial, as most of you know. And so that's one of the major things. Second one is any charter school must comply with the California Department of Education's code, all the education code. There is no exception for any charter school. The first thing is about testing, which they had a problem with last year, and hopefully they've made compliance with that this year. The third piece of that that's really concerning to me is credentialing, that there are teachers that are in Clues that presently are teaching classes that have only a minimum of 30-day sub, if at that are teaching kids. Why that's important to you as a board is the lack of money that will come forward or that could be taken away from Clues that they need to get for ADA. So with all those are just three of the major concerns. At this present time, I bowed out of Clues because of both health issues and because the atmosphere, as far as teaching goes, professionally, was becoming very disconcerting to me. And so I find that the whole area within Clues is rather duplicitous. Board, I take your consideration. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitty, Dr. Whitty. And those, board, are all the comments on 5.1. So at this time, board, if you have any questions of your council or staff, it would be an opportunity for you to raise those questions.
Are there any questions, anyone?
Seeing none? Okay, thank you, board, and we'll proceed to item 5.2. We do have, and just so the public is aware, on 5.1, the board will consider action on it's during its May 16th meeting, no action taken tonight.
Yeah, no voting tonight.
And then on item 5.2, similarly, action taken May 16. This is public hearing for Newman Leadership Academy, and the board welcomes Mr. Doug Reed.
Hi. Small paper, small presentation. I want to thank the board for allowing us to come here to present some information. You may not know our faces very much if you don't see charter schools too much. I have in the audience tonight some of our own board members. I have our board president, Mr. Johnson. I have Dr. Peacock, Dr. Long, and Dr. Collins, who are also in attendance tonight. What I wanted to talk to you about is that this particular school I came to in November, and I saw that it had great potential. I've been working in education for 35 years, public and with charter, and I saw that there was wonderful opportunities to build this school up. And so since then, we put in policies, procedures, and practices to build the school. And at this time, when I was working with the petition, I realized that our petition could definitely coordinate with every practice that we were put in. We wanted to make sure the petition was live, that kids were being served, the community was being served, and that we could be positive throughout all of it. Part of the action that I was able to take was with the support of, and I don't see him here tonight, Director Chris Tickell, who works with us. I have a close working relationship with Mr. Tequila in his office. Sandra Shirley is really good support in his office. And Mike Razzo, who is working with fiscal oversight for us, has helped a lot too. So he's been very willing to sit down, go over our budget, take a look at everything we're doing to make sure that we have an opportunity to make our 3-year plan really viable. So tonight, we've been on this plan to show the board that our fiscal house is in order. We've gotten everything else in place, ready to go to the next level for academics. We want to continue throughout our next 5-year term of our petition, growing with the academics. We've been working very diligently. It's a very committed staff. People are very hardworking. They're willing to put in the extra hours. When a school is this small, it takes a team effort all the way. I would like to ask the board to really consider that you renew our petition for 5 years so that we can continue to serve our students and also serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Good evening. My name is John R., and I'm the CFO with Savanco, and I work with the management team of Newman Leadership. I spent 10 years as a school district and charter school auditor, and as an auditor, I saw many management companies take full advantage of charter schools and not really helping charter schools thrive. Our goal in Savanco is to not just be another vendor for the school, but to be part of their team. That being said, our team was brought on mid-fiscal year to help Newman with a financial plan for the future and ensure the school's longevity. Together with the management team, we were able to put in strong internal controls and fiscal policies that will help the charter school maintain compliance and grow. Financial changes are already starting to be seen as the debt is being paid back at a very quick rate. With fiscal management in place and not affecting the students' education, it is projected that the school will have a positive fund balance in the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Better yet, the following year, they will be able to meet the 5% reserve requirement. This is based on a very conservative budget with no ADA growth. If the school continues to maintain the current policies, it is expected that they will meet and exceed future expectations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And those are all our comments on item 5.2, Dr. Hill.
Thank you. Board, any questions on 5.2, the public hearing for Newman? Okay. Thank you. There will be no voting on this item tonight either. Thank you. Moving to session 6.0, student board members' comments. And we will start with Ms. Shobi, and then Ms. Quezada. You will follow her. Thank you.
This past week, I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. For the National Conference on School Start Times. And I already had my own feelings and opinions on this issue, but after going, I feel that I know a lot more, especially about how to implement an actual later start time, since I think the problem isn't so much whether it's a good thing, it's how to accomplish that with all of our logistical complications. So the first thing that I wanted to say was thank you for that opportunity, and I would like sometime later from today to do a presentation on what I learned about how this board could accomplish that, or possibly in partnership with some of the organizations that I met at the conference. I know I can't do all the work of a consultant, but I would like very much to share. And I'm sure that with enough support and some funding for research into the idea, then it can become a reality, because I think it needs to be. Since the American Association of Pediatrics does recommend that high school starts after 8:30 a.m. And I also learned just a while ago that I will be going to Sacramento next week, or I could be, And that also sounds very awesome, so thank you very much for that opportunity. Let's see. So a presentation on start times. Oh, and I wanted to say that I love drumline. They're already gone, but I just wanted to say that. And I know from personal experience that it was often a hindrance to not have the funding for instance, moving equipment to move all of those enormous instruments. And I saw that they got them, and their show was amazing from both a technical and artistic perspective, so that was really cool. I believe that's all I wanted to say. Good luck to everyone taking finals soon, and I'll be working to make school easier for you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella. Ms. Medina wants to ask her question, and
Yes,
then we'll get ready.
I'm really curious. Did they mention, okay, so was there a time set that they mentioned was more appropriate than other times for high schoolers or middle schoolers?
Like as a difference between those two groups?
No.
or-
What was the recommendation on the time set?
Yeah, the American Association of Pediatricians officially recommends that high school starts at 8:30 a.m. or later. And so there's a lot of case studies that were at that conference with people from those districts, and that we can obviously contact or like research. Some of them switched like their elementary and high school start times. Others moved them both up entirely, and they found ways to figure out the busing issues and the extracurricular issues.
Okay, is there any school district in California that has successfully implemented
Ms. Medina, we're going to do a full report.
Oh, you guys are? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. Well,
because
thank you.
there were 5 of us who were there, so
Oh,
that
okay.
we'll get together and make
Okay,
sure
I
we
just
give
think
you
that's
real good-
fascinating. Thank you for showing that.
And please feel free to give us any questions that you have, so we
Okay.
make sure we answer them when we put our presentation together, but thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Our other school board member, Ms. Quezada?
Good evening. Oh, wait, it works. I don't have much to say on behalf of what Isabel said because she's the one who's informed all that stuff, and I'm happy for her. She's so smart. I think she also really explained how drumline is really special and how supporting the musical programs is important because I know she was in band and I was in orchestra growing up, and funding was always an issue or concern. So once you have that, it really puts you at ease and it showcases students' talents that does, in fact, I forgot which board member said it reflects in the school and their academic success, and it really, really does, especially when they put requirements. One thing I wanted to share was on behalf of Williams syndrome. I think it's really nice and vital that we're actually showcasing that. Special needs and disabilities are something that I'm really passionate about. So I would like to further participate in something in those regards, even though I know you guys have it under control, but if you need anything, I would love to help because it's something that is really close to me. Besides that, this was a short meeting, or we didn't see as much presentations as usual, but I'm just glad to be here again. So.
And you are president of Best Buddies, I think, coming up
Yes, next year I will
next
be,
year, is that
yes.
correct? Okay, at your school, so fantastic.
Good. Well, thank you so much.
And,
Seven
I just want to let you know, we don't have it all under control. We do need your help.
And I think she's been here long enough to know we don't have it under control. She's just being nice to us, and we appreciate that. We'll move on to 7.0, public comments. This is the time during the agenda when the board is prepared to receive comments from members of the public on any matter within its subject matter jurisdiction. Make sure you restrict your time to 5 minutes. Thank you. Dr. Marsden?
Thank you, Dr. Hill. I almost jumped the gun there. Board welcomes Ms. Vanessa Kaigoy, Hardy Brown College Prep. Welcome back.
All right, I come bearing gifts, as I promised you guys I would. So. Copies of parent survey results. All right. So good evening, President Hill and Superintendent
Good evening.
Morrison and board.
Good evening, good evening.
So what you guys will be looking at right now are the parent survey results that I reported on 2 weeks ago. And I come corrected. I said 90%, and we actually got 94%. So after we crunched all the numbers and our data and analytics team got everything together, we had a total of 274 surveys completed by our parents out of 293 families. We did not require for our families to do one for every scholar, but rather just one for the family. Overall satisfaction, as you can see, is 90.99%. And if there's a thumbs up, or as the scholars put it, a like, Facebook, social media like, that means that Hardy Brown actually scored higher than our system-wide average of all 6 of our schools in those areas. So we got to present this data to our staff and faculty yesterday, and they were super excited and they loved it. So I wanted to highlight a few of the questions so you guys know what type of questions were asked under these different topics. For culture, the parents were asked about whether or not their scholar enjoys going to school, things like that. Or do they enjoy the activities that they're engaging in and what have you? Field lessons. On the back side, you'll see that our 5th graders did their Cal Poly science trip, which is an annual trip that is also a part of our LCAP. Under academic program, the questions were around my scholars provided the necessary tools needed to be successful in their academics. School environment, my scholar's school takes actions to ensure his or her safety. Parent involvement, monthly parent meetings were the highest scored out of our parents. They love our muffins for moms and donuts for dads. Also, Common Core Night and Parent Academy. And for administrator effectiveness, they also talked about how our administrators communicate with them, and they were actually very pleased with that. And they felt that our administrators were easily available if they had any concerns or needed to talk to someone. Let's see. For a more fun survey, so we were happy about our parent surveys, but we were really excited to roll out, as you guys know, the State Board of Education is pushing school climate surveys. And so we developed our school climate survey. This is our test run year. And we did 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And we administered it actually yesterday, Monday. And we got 38 of 45 took the survey. And 36 of 45 said that they answered the questions honestly. So we threw out 2. And so that gives us an 84% response rate. And some of the results, we haven't looked through all of the data yet, but 84.21% feel that there is an adult at the school that believes that they will be successful. And I think that makes a big difference as to whether or not they enjoy coming to school. 75% said that they are always trying to do better in their schoolwork. And 78.95% said that they have someone close to them that has gone to college or is attending college. And as you know, Hardy Brown, we are a college-going culture, and we promote college. All of our classes are actually their graduation year, and that's how they introduce themselves. So that was a question that was near and dear to us to know, do they have someone in their lives that are influencing them to move forward? But that is all I have. Cal Poly trip. So our 5th graders, they went to Cal Poly along with our 5th graders from our other schools up in Sacramento. And they got to engage in science projects, science experiments. They got to work with the students at Cal Poly, eat in the cafeteria like a college student, tour the campus, and they really enjoyed it. So I had asked Miss Allen, our principal, to find 3 scholars that went to the trip to come and talk to you guys so they can actually share their real experiences with you. So thank you, and have a great night.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Board welcomes last name Granados. I'm going to mispronounce the first name, so I apologize. And we have, it looks like a few of you want to speak on the topic of Arabic play at Salinas, so you'd all be welcome to come together if you'd like to do that. If you want to come individually, it's your, how you desire to do that. Looked like there are. Yeah, so it looks like there's 4 of you that have filled out public comment slips, and so you could all 4 speak together, or, thank you, welcome.
Hey, hello, how are you guys?
Sure, it's good to see you.
Hello.
Thank you, board, hello, and thank you, assistant superintendents and Superintendent Marsden. I hope you're ready to hear some good news. 'Cause we have some.
Absolutely, always ready.
As always, I'm just the pretty face. I'm introducing the real minds behind me, and we want to talk about a project that we have started to continue. As you might know, Salinas Elementary is a hub. We've created quite a few programs over the time, and some of those programs have even moved to Riverside, Moreno Valley, and other schools within the district. And the idea that we carry with us is really having a learning community that is a true, sincere learning community. In order for that to happen, all members of the learning community must get something out of it, whether it's a tutor, a professor, a college student, or a teacher. And as I get older, I realize the key to teaching is almost censoring myself. It's allowing the kids to have exposure to different minds, different ways of thinking. What I have to teach will automatically get into them through osmosis. So we have a partnership right now with Cal State and Salinas, and the effort is to really blur the lines between college, community, and home. This experiment involves the theater component of Salinas Elementary, being a GATE school, a GATE magnet school, and a creative arts school, and also the world languages component of Cal State, specifically Arabic. And over the last year, we have been taking this as an experiment to really have the kids immerse themselves into Arabic. And we are reaching our culminating activity, which is a play that we would like to invite you all to. So that's the introduction. I'll give it over to Josue, who's our one of our teachers and also a Cal State student.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me today. I know time is very valuable and we all must be wary of each other's time. So I want to talk about my experience thus far tutoring at the elementary school. Well, I want to lead with, I guess, my experience so far. Learning Arabic, not in terms of just learning Arabic, but applying it to my own life in regards to speaking it and integrating it into my habits, whether it be cooking Arabic food or developing it and cultivating new relationships that I have this far has essentially kind of brought a spark in my life. And it has been like a gift that keeps on giving, and I feel that it would be selfish of me if I was to keep it to myself and not spread the message of the importance of terms of not just learning Arabic, but learning a foreign language. That way it allows us to be more receptive, more compassionate, and in tune to the world that we share with others, because of course there's many of us, right? And I wanna say that the time that I've been tutoring at the school, I feel that has not been in vain. I know that the students are enjoying the time, or I would think that they are enjoying the time that we are there Monday mornings. And I saw that this past Thursday for after school session, and where some kids stayed in order to rehearse some of the scenes. And as I was seeing them interact and rehearse the scenes, I saw them that they were actually engaged and actually cared for the material and for the actual, and caring for actually getting it down perfectly. And I saw that it wasn't an obligation. They genuinely enjoyed it and they wanted to. And but don't take my word for it. Hopefully, so most of you, if not some of you, can attend the play on May 15th, and you can see it for yourselves.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, sir.
Good evening.
Good
President
evening,
Hill,
Professor
Superintendent
Mango.
Marston, and all board members. My name is Oraib Mango. I'm a professor at Cal State University, San Bernardino. Thank you for your time today. I don't have much to add to what Mr. Bashirs and Josue have just said. Maybe I'll just say how this partnership has been amazing for all of us, but especially for me, just going into that classroom. Every time I would go there, it was just amazing to see the capacity of these kids to learn a language that's completely different than their own. Arabic is categorized as a level 4 language by the US government, and that's the most difficult language to learn, not because it's very difficult, but because of the time it takes to master the language. But these kids, they just do it with such ease. They make it seem like it's so easy. Maybe if somebody from the government went to the class, they would rate it as category 1 instead of category 4. So it's just their capacity to write seeing them write from right to left, just managing this complexity of the language. It's just amazing to see. So there is a lot of benefits to this program, but what I see is most beneficial is just this partnership that brings us all together. Just being able to work with the teacher, with the students, with parents, with students also from our university, as well as students from this wonderful 4th grade classroom. This has been an amazing experience and has brought us all together in meaningful ways. I think having this sense of belonging, this sense of empathy, love, and genuine caring has been at the core of this program. So I'd like to second the invitation from Mr. Bashirs to have you all come. That would be wonderful. We'd be honored to have you come. And I'd just like to mention that this play is going to be completely in Arabic. However, there will be superscripts, and you'll be able to follow because you'll see the English superscripts up there. So thank you again for your time.
Fantastic, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for your work with the school.
I just want him to finish the time, Mr. Tillman, then I call on you. Okay.
Okay. We have two of our key players right here. We have an assistant director, Hayden, and we
right.
have the man himself, Doritos. That's his
Right.
nickname.
Fantastic.
They're going to come up here and give a few words.
All right.
I'm just gonna bring this down a bit. Marhaba, ismi Hayden Kratel. That is Arabic for hello, my name is Hayden Kratel. I am in the 4th grade gate at Manuel A. Salinas Creative Arts Elementary School. And not only would I like to invite you, but on behalf for everyone in my class, I would like to invite you to our play, Johan the Donkey, which, might I add, is completely in Arabic. We work with the CSU Professor Mango and our college students Josue and Stephanie. Sadly, Stephanie could not make it with us today. I don't know why, but she's at work. She's not sick. Okay, news. I am the assistant director and an actor in our play. We have worked hard not only to do the play, but helping each other. Our Arabic teachers, Josue and Stephanie, have been working very hard with us, helping us every Monday morning, and always pushing us to do our best.
Fantastic. Wow, Hayden.
Thank you, great job.
I think you might have a future in public speaking.
Oh, yeah. We have some great minds in that class. Just again, I know you guys are familiar with the research and just common sense that the more professors, the more college students that my kids see, the more likely they are to go to college. And quite frankly, the more parents I get to see, the better teacher I become. So it is really about being a community. And that community has to be not just for the children, but for the parents, for the college tutors, for the professors, and when you guys show up on May 15th for you guys as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before you
Thank
leave,
you.
Mr. Tillman?
Couple of questions. First, I just got to ask, is that a Dunkin' Donut shirt you got on?
I've already been ridiculed for this shirt today. And, there's no comment.
Okay.
It looks more like
But-
Cheetos.
Okay, now,
It's a test that I give, and it depends.
oh, it's a
I
test.
don't know what the answers mean. I get Cheetos, I get Dunkin'
Okay.
Donuts.
Oh, but we know Mr. Tillman just failed. right?
It also looks like happy faces and sad faces.
You're right. She what, 10 years old, going on 40, right? But how many kids participate in the program?
This is our, well, I don't know if you know this, but in Salinas, we rotate our 4th and 5th grade like it's high school. So
Okay.
they have 6 or 7 teachers at any given time.
Okay.
On Mondays, since we have half days, we have a homeroom day.
Okay,
So it's with my GATE homeroom class, which is 28 students.
okay. Is this your first year?
At Salinas? No.
No. And this Arabic program?
Yes. We began, it was with a college program. So we do a few programs. One of them is a field trip where professors teach the classes to the students. So the kids fill out a college application, we give them a reader, we pick a valedictorian, and they go to classes, and different teachers in different disciplines from Cal State or UCR teach, and that's where we met Professor Mango. And she approached us and said, hey, let's cause some trouble. And we didn't quite know what we wanted to do, but like most things in teaching, it's experiment. We knew, and I think we have something quite magical, because the kids are picking up Arabic a lot faster than me. I have no idea what's going on in the class. I just sort of grunt. But the kids are picking up very fast. We have a world that's so divided now, right? And we cling to these little bits of what we think is our strength or what's correct. And really, I do sincerely believe that the kids are way better than most adults. So when you give them an opportunity, we just sort of tweak it here and there to make it a bit more educational. But really, the kids are the ones that bring it together. They're the ones with the completely open minds. They're the ones with the creative ideas. They're the ones that make things happen.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Flores?
Oh, sorry.
I just want to thank you so much for doing it, because it's volunteer, right, Professor Mungo? You're volunteering your time. And kids, do you love Arabic? Do you guys love Arabic? Yeah. I only know how to say marhaba kifalik. And I learned that in college. And if I would have had another extra time, I would have probably taken Arabic. And so languages are my forte. I love languages. And I think it's wonderful, what you're doing, because it's just not language. Like you said, it's, making bridges, getting to learn about different cultures and so forth. And I don't know if you know this, but we have a multilingual, multicultural initiative in our district. And so it's wonderful that you're starting this. I think we need to clone them and do it in other places with other languages as well. It's just wonderful. I just want to thank you so much for all your effort. And I do plan on being there on May 15th.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Was Daniel supposed to speak? Was Daniel supposed to speak?
Yeah, he's just gathering a little bit of courage. You want to speak, Daniel? Brave, son.
Hello, my name is Daniel Torrijos. I'm in fourth grade, and I go to Salinas Elementary. We would like to invite you to our play, Johan the Donkey, which is completely in Arabic. We work with two tutors and a professor. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We have a couple public comments on item 11.2. We can the board can entertain those comments now, or the board can entertain those comments when we come to item 11.2 at the pleasure of Mr. Curtis, Watson, Vishal, it's up to you. What's your pleasure? Okay, so we'll have you come back at item 11.2. At this point, the board would welcome Ms. Esmeralda Negretti, and you have comments on bus stop safety and safety improvements, so welcome. Welcome, Ms. Negretti.
Good evening. I would like to begin with a bus stop concern, and this is a bus stop concern related to what's happening at my children's bus stop, and this has been ongoing for months, and it's still not something that's been resolved, and I replied to Marie recently to the email that she sent me, because it looks like we're going back to square one. We continue to go back and forward on what is best, and which is her solution has been relocating their bus stop, which of course would require the children to cross more streets. I don't see that as something that is safe nor wise for student safety. The first bus stop is for the elementary bus stop, and that's something that's more recent. And what happened there was an individual who exposed himself. Police department was called. The individual was cited and released, of course, hours later. The response I received from the district when I made the district aware of what was happening was, well, it didn't happen during loading nor unloading. To me, that was such a cop-out response because it's like, thank God it didn't. However, he was already lingering in that corner. Did they want that in order for take action? I just don't see when I get that response as a parent, it's just like, what are you thinking? And then what they added to that one was that this individual lived a block and a half away. I brought you a picture because a block and a half away to me means from, let's say, from here to baseline, from here to whichever the next street is when you're going north and south. However, when you're running with these streets you're going east to west, it's normally 2 houses away. And of course, with this particular bus stop, it was 2 houses away. It was right around the corner.
Ms. Negretti, could you give us an address?
The bus stop for the elementary, I didn't know if you wanted me to share it in public or not, just because of the safety, and because we also noticed a Honda, we have the license plate, who came right before the bus was to arrive, and as the bus got pulled over, the driver got out and opened up his passenger door, and the other mom and I, we thought maybe a new student in the bus, you're picking up another child, and we became, alert because he didn't. There was no other child to pick up. Once he saw that parents were there, he got in and he took off. So whether or not you want me to disclose, that's up to you. I know this is being recorded, but I have put the address here. I have pictures of that for you.
You can hand those out if you'd like.
I would think the board will support me in saying we want all eyes at all stops, so we certainly don't want to keep it secret. We want to make sure our students are safe at all times.
What they did there, right when it happened, the other parent and I, there's only 2 parents that use that bus stop, and this is for an elementary. We said, you know what, please relocate this bus stop a block, block south. She was in complete agreement. We already have that bus stop. The driver likes to drive south already anyhow. So it's not like we were, asking her to create something new. She already drives by there. When they send the supervisor was sent once in the morning. And I let him know, I said, you know what, I don't see how complicated this change is. When she already drives in that direction, she already pulls over there to check, because I asked my daughter, I said, why does she do that? She said, she checks every time after every stop to make sure that nobody left trash behind. So she drives in, and I made the supervisor aware. I said, you know what, I have pictures of her already driving in that direction. I have video of her from my surveillance camera, and he said, please don't record her. I said, no, you're forgetting this. That's public ground. I have a right to take pictures. I have a right to record. That's already in my surveillance camera. And so that, I don't know if that alerted them. However, how it was resolved, the immediate quick fix was sending school police for a few days in the morning and in the evening. Guess what? He's back. And he likes to cut, and I put in then with the red line, he likes to cut through those apartments that are there. He will cut, so it's very accessible for him to just come around, literally come around, circle around, and be around there. The good thing that happened with having school police there, more neighbors became aware. more neighbors became aware that we have a pervert who likes to go and peep through people's windows, who likes to expose himself. This is not good for them. And I just don't see the problem when the other parent has already said, yeah, this makes sense. Let's move that bus stop a block down. The next bus stop is also another bus stop that this has been going on for longer. This has really been going on for months. And the problem with the second bus stop, and this is the bus stop for Richardson, there is absolutely no sidewalk at that bus stop. Not only is there no sidewalk, which we know there's grass, it gets slippery. My daughter had already suffered multiple fractures to her left arm when she was pushed last year on her birthday. Literally multiple fractures on one arm. And so this bus stop here, there's absolutely no sidewalk. In addition to that, this is on 34th Street, 34th and Arrowhead. There is a stop sign. Yes, there is a stop sign, which the neighbor there that lives at the corner has already said, you know what? Oh my God, cars drive that stop, they fly through, and we're concerned. We have suggested, please move, bring back, because at one point there was a stop on Marshall. And they have refused to. When I made a public records request, apparently this district doesn't hold on to records for that long. I know for a fact that Rodriguez did have a bus stop on Marshall because my son used to take that bus stop. When it came down to Richardson, it was a whole different, well, we don't have it, because I would love to provide you facts, and they don't hold on to those records. But it was a simple solution. Restore what was there. If the other parents don't want to change their location, that's up to them, but there are other students that could use it. Marie had said something last year, literally
Mr. Grady,
last year.
If you could wrap it up, we appreciate it. Thank you.
I have that here too for you.
Thank you.
And
We'll be
I have
happy to take
correspondence.
those. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grady, for your comments tonight.
Thank you so much.
Board welcomes Mr. James Albert. Actually, there's Dr. Hill. Yeah, I think you have 5 minutes total for your comments. Yeah, that you have 5 minutes of comment time for whatever comments you have for the board. Correct. Mhm.
Just for clarification, in public comment, there's one time you can speak for 5 minutes. But say, for instance, there was another item that was agendized. You could put a slip in for that other item.
There you go. Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? No, that's what I'm saying. So for public comment, if you want to speak on, if it's not, whatever's not on the agenda, you got one time, 5 minutes to speak for everything.
Right, just for the future reference. Thank you, Mr. Grady.
Thank
And-
you.
And please don't hesitate to follow up with my office and any comments you have that we can continue until the next, I don't want you to wait till the next board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. James Albert, board welcomes you for your 5 minutes. Support for SB 328, prohibiting middle and high schools from beginning their school days before 8:30. Welcome.
Yeah, Isabella, if you mind waiting, I would like to really give you a shout out for, being ahead of your time on this. It's kind of a coincidence. Have we ever met before? Yeah? No, that we have not ever met. My name is James Albert. I'm a local community organizer here in San Bernardino. I definitely want to express support for Senate Bill 328, which is introduced by Mr. Portantino from the 25th State Senate District. It would be, the brief summary would be prohibiting middle schools and high schools from beginning their school day before 8:30 a.m. And I know you mentioned that you're going to be going up to Sacramento here pretty soon. I definitely would love to be a resource for you to talk more on this bill for school districts on this. And I know you mentioned one of the studies that you were talking about. You said you mentioned the support of the American Academy of Pediatrics and also the American Medical Association, as well as the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, both going through the facts that the problems that we're seeing with students getting less than 8 hours of sleep. We're seeing that it's led to an increase in depression symptoms, greater use of caffeine, and greater risk for substance abuse. We also saw actually that schools that changed their start times from 7:35, which I think is what you guys start school districts right now, middle schools and high schools right now. Is that correct? 7:35. So they saw that the school districts that changed from 7:35 to 8:55 a.m. saw a 70% reduction rate in teen drivers, 16 to 18 years old, in car crashes as well. So this is really an intersectional issue and really something that we can get the ball rolling here right now. Several school districts, to name one of them, let's see, Manhattan Beach Unified School District has expressed their support for this. And then also looks like as existing law right now is that governing boards of school districts, before implementing an alternative schedule, need to consult in good faith in any effort to reach an agreement with the certificated and classified employees of the school, with the parents of pupils who would be affected by the change, and with the community at large, and requires a consultation to include at least one public hearing for which the board has given adequate notice to the employees and to the parents of pupils affected. So I'm definitely very supportive of this issue. And then also in the author's district, they saw that by just improving attendance rates by 1%, it could generate $40 million a year in funding from state funding by doing so. So I'm definitely a big advocate for this and definitely would love to work with you. Actually, last week was voter education weeks in the high schools. We took the opportunity to go to several YAP classes throughout the district and expressed this bill to them, and we could see that a lot of the students were definitely in agreement on another hour of sleep would definitely go a long ways to seeing better achievement, academic achievement in their classes. So I also definitely want to make people aware of a notice that I got today through the East Valley Water District. They're seeing levels of total, I'm going to get this word wrong, but trihalomethanes is TTHM. They're seeing above the drinking water standard, and they're trying to notify residents in the East Valley Water District on what they should do, and also trying to get out the word on school districts. They're advocating for letting school districts know about their employees, students, and parents about the upcoming public workshop, which is on Wednesday, May 10th at 7 p.m. at the East Valley Water District's headquarters. So I have the pamphlet right here if you want to take a look at it.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Albert.
Yeah. Who should I give that to?
My assistant over here.
Is that it?
Those are all the public comments now, board. We'll bring back the other comments. Oh, we have one more. We have items that will come back at 11.2. Mr. Greddy, the board welcomes you back on item 10.2.
Thank you. I wanted to suggest that before you make a decision regarding $150,000 to be spent to someone who's coming completely from, another state, because these are services from Bloomington, Minnesota. After the December 2nd, 2015, we have plenty of personnel here within San Bernardino, our San Bernardino Sheriff Department, San Bernardino PD, who you already contract with, and I assume that you would contract them because you trust their judgment. They know our city, they know the services that our community needs. And instead of spending that on someone from the outside, why not contract with them, consult with them, our locals who know better, and get to know everything. Other than that, some of the suggestions that I had, which I don't think they're gonna need a consultant, it's just common sense, would be peepholes on the doors. And instead of looking at outside communities, how about if we just look at districts that are right next door, such as Colton? If you look at Colton Joint Unified, they have 4 security officers per middle school. Here we have 1 or 2, depending on the site. It's just one of those that, according to San Bernardino Districts Unified's website, it states that they have 2 and 5 at the high schools, which is incorrect. You can go and visit any of the campuses and you will see that they have 1, some of them have 2. But when we're saying, well, let's look at safety strategies, we really don't have to look that far away. We can look at neighboring cities. Colton has the 4 and has had the 4 for many years. And I believe they have 1 at the elementaries, which is something that we have requested. We have requested that we at least have 1 campus security officer here at the elementary level. So instead of already thinking outside the bubble and going too far away, why not look at what our neighboring districts are already doing? Because whatever they're doing, instead of us trying to reform something or be the guinea pig of something, some new idea that somebody wants to bring, why not look at what they're already doing and it's working for them? And whatever it's working for them, bring it here. A simple solution would be those peepholes. Another solution would be starting to have more security staff in our sites.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greddy.
Have a good evening. Those are all the public comments, Board, until we return to item 11.2.
Thank you. Session 8, 8.0, the administrative report. 8.1, peer assistance and review, also known as PAR, report of participation. Dr. Marsden.
Dr. Wiseman can comment briefly.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden, Dr. Hill. As you know, we have a peer assistance and review program. We've negotiated with SBTA several years ago in regards to an MOU that outlines the program, our joint panel, as well as the May, actually I'm going to make an amendment. It says May 1st. It's actually May 15th, so let's please make that a amendment. But anyways, we're to inform you of the services provided as well as those participants that did not make satisfactory progress. So we'll go through that briefly. But before I do that, I want to recognize Ashley from SBTA. Can you raise your hand there? This is truly a collaborative effort. We have a joint panel that includes district representatives as well as teachers from SBTA. I also want to recognize Mary Pierce, who leads the PAR program. And we have our PAR consultants. We have Eurydice Fitz, Kiki Hu, Tanya Rhodes, Denise Loera, Carmen Quinn Oko. Those are our PAR consulting teachers, and they do an absolutely fantastic job each year with our participants. Anyways, you see the data there. The first two, the tenured teachers as well as the one intern teacher, they received unsatisfactory last year, which would require mandatory PAR participation. And then the rest are going to be self-referrals, as well as those employees who have an emergency credential, or they come to us, they were employed at another school district, and they come to us as probationary employees. We're using the PAR consulting teachers to offer support to those teachers as well. And then you see on page 5, we have 7 employees who were mandatory participants. The joint panel met, reviewed all the evaluations. 3 of those 7 have improved, and 1 of them will be retiring at the end of this school year. So just so you know, last year we had 10 mandatory participants. This year we now have 7, and it's been reduced through the work of our PAR program and the collaboration and partnership with SBTA to 3. So those are my comments. Staff's doing a great job, and we're excited about the progress.
Thank you. We will not be voting on this, but Board, do you have any questions?
I have one.
Okay. Dr. Flores?
So Dr. Wiseman, 3 have advanced or improved, 1's retiring, and what about the other 3 out of the 7?
So there's 3 which I'll be communicating to the board through a correspondence. I'll provide the specific names, which is outlined in the MOU that we're to communicate that with you. So if they go for the Ed Code as well as the MOU says that we should not take them further than 2 years. So one of the things we're doing is HR is providing some guidance to the principals in regards to some progressive discipline. Also, we're looking at those candidates after PAR participation for 2 years and there's still no progress. We're looking at doing a 90-day notice of unsatisfactory performance.
And these are tenured teachers?
That is correct.
These are, and will you report to us how long they've been tenured and all of that in closed session?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Session 9, 9.0, reports and comments. 9.1, San Bernardino Teachers Association. Welcome.
Well, this is a treat. It's before 8 o'clock. I'm Ashley Vitas Alcala, president of the San Bernardino Teachers Association. And tonight, I just wanted to, I mentioned it several meetings ago, next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and we do appreciate you honoring that at the previous meeting. But we also have our retirement dinner and our Monty Awards happening next Thursday at the Castaways Restaurant, and I have a invitation for cabinet and members of the board. We will be awarding approximately 65, I think, retirees. I think there's a few more than that. I'm not sure if they'll all show up, but we hope you can come and celebrate them. And also, for our Monty Awards this year, we give out an award to a teacher from each of the, and a member from each of our different areas, elementary, middle, high school, special services, and then we have an innovation award also. And for our special services award, we'll be honoring Karen Smith next Thursday, so we hope you can join us. And we hope that you are out there celebrating our school nurses this month and also our teachers, so thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. California School Employees Association.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for recognizing Classified. We appreciate it, and we're here to help you and serve you whatever you need. I have a little something for you all if I can approach the board.
Absolutely.
He's got a pen, so be careful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
It's beautiful.
He doesn't love goodies.
No, you got it. Nice. Perfect. Yeah.
And that's about all I got. So y'all have a fabulous evening.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Just so you know what it says Everyday Heroes, CSEA, no, CSEW 2017. Yeah, and CSEA.
Thank you
And-
so much. We appreciate that. 9.3, Communications Workers of America.
Good evening, Board, without Dr. Marsden.
Good evening.
Just left. I have several things. One of the things that I was going to talk to you about was already explained to you, and Senator Anthony Portation, he's a Democrat from La Canada and Flint Ridge, he's introduced Senate Bill 328 to talk about the fact that secondary schools should not start before 8:30 in the morning. And since I know that Dr. Hill and I have asked the board before to look into that, I'm very happy to see something is now being done. And I would like very much for this school board to stand up and lead the rest of the nation in what should be done for our secondary students. Quick thing on the Williams syndrome. I understood there was a walk in Santa Monica this month. I don't know the exact dates, but I think it would be great if the school board could get one of the high schools involved or something, get a couple school buses, go out to Santa Monica and have us walk with a banner to support the Williams syndrome. So that's something that you can think about. The other thing that I want to do is we had a substitute, Ann Kerr, die just before the shooting at North Park. She was a substitute at North Park, and yes, I'll never pronounce this right, Yasida Downing, the principal, was the main speaker at her funeral, and that was on the 22nd. My heart goes out to her because she really is holding it together very well. I just wanted to read to you just a quick little paragraph. We sent 10 substitutes to North Park for their first week, and 5 of them are working there. But this is what one of them wrote to me, said, the utility of our presence on campus has proven viable over the course of the past 2 weeks. Following the staff meeting about the available counseling services, a number of teachers finally took leave for recuperation. Having a group of guest teachers on site that knew the children by name, as well as their academic routines, has helped maintain classroom stability. Furthermore, our assistance has allowed the teachers to complete work that was delayed as a result of the tragic events 2 weeks ago. For instance, I have been assigned to the second grade classrooms in the B wing in order to catch up on their grading, lesson planning, and individual student testing. The teachers in that wing have had me teach whole lessons or do small group work while they complete the aforementioned task. It is my understanding that, and this, he lists 3 other substitutes, Timothy, Dominic, and Christian, have been put to similar use in their wings. So I want to say again, I thank you very much for having the foresight, Dr. Wiseman, of putting guest resident teachers out there to help these teachers in this time of need. And having been out there myself and everything, in fact, having taught Jonathan when he was at Palm, you know, this Williams thing is something that I would like to see all of us know a little bit about, and I look forward to signing up for the walk if you guys sponsor one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. San Bernardino School Police Officers Association, no report. San Bernardino School Managers, no report. Comments by board members, oh, I'm sorry.
Dr. Hill, could I have a moment to put in my earplugs?
No, you have to listen. Okay. We'll start on this end again. So, Scott, anything to say?
Madam President, not after that guy.
Oh, okay. Dr. Flores?
Yes, I'd just like to share with my colleagues that you were there, Dr. Hill, as well. I think when you went also to Vision to Read Early Literacy by Literacy launch. When Scott went too. Yeah, Scott went too. It was just phenomenal. It was our county-wide collective impact launch of early literacy and biliteracy. And I was able to get the app, and my 3.5-year-old granddaughter is now zooming through it. Oh my God. And there's so many incredible features. She said, Nana, what are all those lights lighting up? You know, I said, it's the words. The words that you're hearing are the words that you're seeing. Oh, okay. She goes back, presses it, and she's 3.5, and boom, you know how the kids are, boom, 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 she's into it. And playing the games, it's just amazing. I just wanted to watch her. I watched how she maneuvered and went through it, and then when she got stuck, I jumped in, and then, of course, worked with her. But it is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So, Madam President, I would like us to bring back Footsteps to Brilliance agenda item for next meeting. And I've gotten other comments from parents because I've been out in the community. And I think it would be great it's a supplemental program. And once they download it, it's there. They don't have to go online. And our kids, because there's multiple access to print, the audio, they see it, there's music, it's just amazing. And I think summer's coming up, the kids could have access, and I think it was for up to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just respectfully request that we put it back on the agenda. I went to the multilingual recognition dinner last Friday. It was phenomenal, more than 500 people. It was the 30th dinner. Our district was well represented. I was really, really happy to see all the different awards, and it speaks well about, about our employees. So I was very, very, very honored to be there and support them. And then the following morning, Saturday, I got to go to the district-wide reclassification ceremony at the Casulas at Cal State San Bernardino. 1,426 kids were reclassified, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it was like we were at a graduation, and we shook everybody's hand, and they got a medallion. Yeah, a medallion. So it was wonderful, and kids were so proud. The parents were proud. It was wonderful. And then last night, I attended the Riverside County School Board spring dinner. I like to go to represent us so that they know that we're in sync with them. And they're also very, because we are part of the Inland Empire, I think we're a force, by the way, you guys, because San Bernardino County and Riverside County, we are highly represented and really innovative, I think, as board members in all our different districts. And Dr. Pedro Noguera spoke, and he spoke about equity. And it's too long for me to share, but I'd like to type up my notes and share them with you, Dr. Marsden, and our team, because what he has to say is just phenomenal. And there are places throughout the country, and he also mentioned Toronto, where equity is being very successful. And anyway, in terms of not just academics, but also the social emotional aspects. So we need to just be aware of that. And then I think, last thing, Dr. Hill, you and I and Mrs. Rogers are going to be going to the Delegate Assembly on May 20th and 21st. That's where delegates from throughout the state, board members, meet. There's 271 or 78 of us, I think, and it's just phenomenal. We deal with policy, and it's very lively. So anyway, okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And before we go to you, Mr. Rogers, we had hoped we could bring it back before now, the footsteps to brilliancy, but I know, as we talk about our transparency, and I think SBTA has not had a chance to chime in on it. But hopefully we can do that so that we can bring it back to the next meeting. But you're right, it's an excellent program. Thank you. Ms. Rogers?
Yes, thank you. I do want to just echo, we talked a little bit about it, but I know you will share out more as we looked at the presentation, and thanks to Ms. Shobi and her father and Dr. Volkermer and Dr. Hill, we all went together, and we did learn a lot of information, but we do want to make sure we gather it properly, and then we'll talk about it. But I am excited about looking at it. Matter of fact, some of the county members are really interested in being part of the team to be able to give us some background when they look at the mental health capacity about it, as well as the public health side. So we've already kind of reached out, so just want to let you know that as well. Dr. Flores did touch on, I wanted to revisit the multicultural question again. I think I brought that up a couple of weeks ago. I know we started out and did a pretty good job getting it off the ground and getting partners together. So I'd like to see where we are with that and know when we can get an update again and know what we're going to do, because it certainly would be stellar to know that our students can not only leave with a Class A education, but they can leave with a second language. I think that would be great. Also, while we were up there just talking again, always watching parents and the things that motivate the parents, I'd like to just make a notation that our parents are doing a lot of things, and I know I had talked before about having them come back and share, but on the other side of it, I'd like to know some of the things that they are doing, and maybe we can add them to our announcements, just like we do with the students, maybe once a month. Activities is going on within all of our parents, so we can kind of know what they're doing, because we hit and miss on that sometimes, and I think those are places that we definitely want to be there to support before they have an issue. We can kind of sit and hear and know, so if we can somehow figure out how we can add that, I think I mentioned that to you, Dr. Hill, as well. And then the last thing is, Abigail, I believe you mentioned on this a couple of meetings ago, when Secretary of State Padilla came, one of his representatives did reach out to us wanting to know if we can get involved in the student civic education. And I know, following up, and I know that I had gave it to Ms. Bardier, has that information. So I just want to make sure that we follow through, because they did reach out to us and said they wanted to have that conversation. And it's around civic engagement as well as helping in a campaign that they have.
Right.
Things that we can put on the website for our
Right.
students and connect it to our government.
And they have it twice a year. So the
Exact-
thing is that we missed it for this time around,
Right.
but we should be prepared for when the
And I
next
looked
time
at the
comes
dates.
around.
So so we have the contact, I handed the contact over, so it's a direct contact, and I'd like to see us follow up on those type of connections. Thank you.
That's great.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Medina?
I just wanted to mention that last night, we went to the 6th Annual San Bernardino County Native American Recognition Dinner. It was with high school students, and I think there was a few college students as well, that were being recognized. Dr. Scott Wyatt was there, a board member, as well as Harold Lorcomer. We had many other individuals there. And just realizing the amount of students from all over the region, and a school in particular, and I'm not sure if you were able to grab the name of the school, the high school. Sherman. Yes, and the amount of students they had, and, I'm sorry? Yes, from all over the United States, from all over the nation. It was exciting to see that they really did love their heritage, and I think it's very important to continue that. And I mean, hopefully we're also doing this in a big area with our Native American students in the district, just following suit what they're doing. So I'm really proud of our kids and our students and our teachers and our staff, so that was really exciting. And they were also presented with a blanketing ceremony, which the parents was able to robe the students themselves with the blanket. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Medina. Mr. Gallo?
Thank you, Dr. Hill. I had the pleasure of going up to Fresno, California with the San Andreas team to receive the Continuation High School Model Schools Award for the state of California. They were one of 35 schools out of 452 schools, over 55,000 students in continuation high schools across the state. And that's about, what, 8% or so, a little 7.5% or so of the schools. So they're in the top 7.5% of continuation schools based on innovative programs, et cetera. And this is right here, Dr. Hill's alma mater, right? I mean, yes. She was leading that for a long, long time, and now Principal Ed Hensley. We actually rented a van and drove up to Fresno in that van, 5.5 hours with teachers and principals. Will drive anybody crazy, you know, let alone with a school board member. You know, that had to be really traumatic for them. But it was really fun. And then last Wednesday, we got to visit, and it was at Indian Springs High School, the technology showcase, educational technology showcase that students put on, showcasing the various innovative technologies that they're involved in, from, you know, web development to their own digital media arts creation to robotics, and we even had the Growing Hope project there, and showcasing all of the things that students are actively engaged in, and that was really neat to see some of the students presenting, and how proud they were to showcase what they were actually learning in the career pathways, and the technology innovations that we've been able to fund at local schools. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman?
I guess I'd like to get a consensus, or maybe just a brief update on where we at with the late start. I know Dr. Hill been talking about it since the day you got here, but are we looking to do it soon? Are we not looking at doing it, or where are we at exactly?
Just got back from the conference.
No, but I mean, I know there's legislation. Are we looking at doing it anytime soon, switching?
Well, I hope so, because we had at least taken a look at it for our area.
So can we get it agendized then, maybe for an upcoming meeting?
Well, I really would like for us, if it's okay, just to pull our notes and information together and perhaps do a board presentation. And perhaps we can do that at next meeting.
Yeah, that would be good. You
Yeah.
could agendize it, yeah.
So we can agendize it and we can do our presentation, because we want our student board member and her dad to also have input, as well as Dr. Volkmer.
Yeah, well, my only thing is, if it's going to get done, because the board's going to commit to doing it, there's going to be a timeline associated with it.
Yes.
So it's going to be clear whether or not we can do it for the upcoming school year or the next school year. But I think the sooner we decide, then at least we'll be clear on the direction we're going to take, and then look at cost and switching things around. But I think it's obvious if we just don't make a commitment that it's never going to happen. So this may be just a perfect time, since we've been talking about it so long.
Sure.
And now you have legislation, so hopefully the legislation will have some support with it. But
Well, I agree with you, Mr. Tillman. When we met, one of the things of all the schools that started with a late start time, only one school has failed, and that was a student who did not do the planning. I think they discussed it like March or April, and they tried to implement it in September.
who's that? Who's
And,
they?
A particular district,
Oh, I got you.
someplace on the East Coast.
Okay.
But the thing is, it involves so many stakeholders, so we have to involve the stakeholders. But I think you'll get a better picture when we bring back the notes and the things that we picked up. Because it even took me to a different level, just listening to all of the experts who were there speaking.
Yeah, I think we're all convinced it's just a matter of what it's going to take to do it. If there's other districts that are similar in size to us to have done it, then we'll have an idea of how much time it takes. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear about.
Yeah, I think the largest district was Fairfax, Virginia, and they had like 160,000, 188,000 students. And so,
There you go, we got to.
Madam President, when I was in high school, we started at 8:20, 25.
I hate to tell you, I started at 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that was my problem. We started at 7:15. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I need to change it, see? And then,
Yeah, but Danny didn't start till 9, right? And the school did.
Okay.
Mr. Gallo's being very mean to me, Madam President.
And I apologize publicly, because Danny knows
I
I
gotta
love
say
him.
this, because I'm being bullied here. They got a picture of this donkey, and he said, "Danny, you took a bad picture there."
You telling all our secrets,
And he,
Danny?
and he didn't say it in Arabic. He said it in English. But
Well, perhaps in December, when we make these changes, one of you will be on this side and one on the other.
the next thing I just want to commend CAPS on doing a great job. They had
You lobbed the ball? Did you throw out more
I
than
threw
one
the first
ball?
pitch, and I want you to know I threw a strike.
Oh, did
Right,
you?
thank
Good for you, all right.
And I got it on video. I went to Walmart and I practiced for 2 days. Bought a ball. I bought a hard ball. Yeah. I threw it against one of the schools. Yeah. I threw it like Vita Blue. Remember Vita Blue? But anyway, but it was great to see that many kids at the game after school. And I talked to Mr. Warman. He said he do a number of field trips. A lot of them are on Saturdays. I want to thank the teachers because they have to have teachers that go out there with them. So I commend the teachers for taking the extra time and volunteering. The CAP staff, our classified staff that go out with it, because you can just see the excitement in the kids, and a lot of our kids don't go to on field trips and some of them would never go to a game at the 66 if it wasn't for that event. So it's just a great event, and they do it first class. They give the kids money to spend, to buy stuff at the concession stand and everything. So it was really nice. So I just want
So
to,
how many students were there?
man, it was
I know
thousands.
I heard it was going to be about 3,000.
Yeah, it was thousands of kids. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I'll probably just mention one thing because I'm sure Dr. Morrison's going to talk about our trip to Costa Mesa last evening to watch different schools get their awards, from the Civic Award to the Gold Ribbon Award. So that was a very impressive event, and a lot of talent by the students in Orange County. Other than that, I just want to share that it was an honor for me to be asked to introduce education at the Hairdresser Ball. For those of you who did not go, and I kept it a secret, I didn't share it until, well, I didn't share it, period. But the theme was the history of San Bernardino, and it started with our Native American families, and then we talked about several things, including education. So they called and asked if I would narrate that. So it was an honor to do that. And other than that, again, I'm sure you're going to mention what we
Yes,
did
ma'am,
here.
I am.
So we will now move on to, well, before you, I need to go to 9.7, board committee reports.
There were no committees.
Okay. 9.8, comment by superintendent and staff members.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. And Board, I have a lot of good news, and I think we need good news. And one, I'll start with a star I received. It's wooden, and it was presented by a community member, and she wrote this incredible letter. And I'll just read part of it to you, and then I'll pass it around. And she says, I've always treasured the words of Making Hope Happen, and she talks about students from Bing Wong, Cypress, Emerton, Holy Rosary Academy, Lytle Creek, and Soar Charter Academy have been practicing Making Hope Happen by making stars of hope. Their stars have been sent around the world wherever hope is needed. Recently, their stars of hope were affixed to North Park fence. These teachers and students truly share our vision of making hope happen. They hope the constant sight of their stars will remind North Park students and staff that someone cares about them and will bring them encouragement on their road to recovery. And so she talks about this one being sent to me, and I'm grateful for it, for our team. So if you walk into my office, I usually have a picture you'll see of Lou Chen that says, keep calm and love San Bernardino, and I'm going to replace Lou with Making Hope Happen star, and talk to Lou later about that. But she says later in the letter, you bring educators and students hope. Stars of hope bring optimism to those who've experienced disaster or tragedy. The Humane Society brings people hope through animals, and she goes on. She hopes the star will reassure us and bring inspiration when we feel downtrodden and discouraged. And she hopes it'll bring joy, peace, and contentment as we continue with our vision of making hope happen. So I thought that was quite a kind gesture, one for the long written letter and the hand-painted token. And she also included information that the Stars of Hope trademark started out of response to 9/11, and so I'll share this with you, and you can pass that back and forth. Also wanted to congratulate Cajon High School student junior Aaron Rankin, who's been selected as the Sun newspaper's Athlete of the Week. Aaron, a softball player, was a big part of helping Cajon beat Citrus Valley twice recently to move into first place in the Citrus Belt League. Also want to recognize San Gregorio students, Sanji students, Cindy Morales and Stephanie Martinez have been nominated for the Cadet Corps Medal of Honor for their actions in saving the life of their grandfather. After taking CPR classes with the Cadet Corps, they put their training into action, performing CPR on their grandfather who suffered a heart attack. Their quick action kept his heart beating until emergency services arrived, and we will be recognizing them at a future meeting with our own ABC Awards for Bravery and Courage. So congratulations and thanks to them. Our school recognitions, as Dr. Hill mentioned, there's some other awards I want to mention that we just received word on. The Campaign for Business and Education Excellence has named the following district schools to its 2016 State Honor Roll: our Alternative Learning Center, Hillside, Kimbark, North Vermont Elementary Schools, Richardson Prep High, and Rodriguez Prep Academy Middle Schools and Middle College High School. The 2016 Honor Roll recognizes public schools that demonstrate consistently high levels of student academic achievement, improvement in their achievement over time, and reduction in achievement gaps. For high schools, the honor roll recognition includes measures of students' college readiness. Congratulations to these schools and their principals. Also want to give kudos to the amazing students at Musquoy Elementary for raising more than $3,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This is the largest donation a school has made to this nonprofit in San Bernardino County, so done at our own Musquoy. Also, congratulations, and this is a hidden jewel board I want you to hear, and I want our public to hear as well. Del Vallejo Middle School Cadet Corps program, congratulations to them for bringing home 11 trophies from the state drill competition, the most by any school in California. Del Vallejo earned 6 team trophies, placed first in unarmed exhibition, second in armed exhibition and unarmed squad, and third in armed squad, unarmed platoon and armed platoon. Student Jacob Heflin placed first in the state in the armed drill down competition and third in unarmed drill down. Students Thauncey Vasquez, Anthony Salinas, and Jacoby Thompson also brought home trophies. The Del Vallejo Cadet Corps is led by Captain Benjamin Cervantes. I want to pay him a personal visit and congratulate him. Fantastic job. Very excited about the success going on there. And as Dr. Hill mentioned, we also last night attended on Monday with Dr. Hill and I, Dr. Mitchell, attended the California Schools Recognition, Department of Education School Recognition Awards event. 6 of our schools were recognized for their achievements. So congratulations to Kim Bark, Principal Mario Jaquez, Green Ribbon Schools Award. Congratulations to Dr. Juana Lundy and Thompson School for the Civic Learning Award of Merit, to Golden Valley under the leadership of Kristen Bikendova. They received the Civic Learning Award of Merit. Congratulations to Pacific High School. Dr. Natalie Raimundo also earned the Civic Learning Award of Distinction. San Bernardino High School, under the leadership of Dr. Antoinette Gutierrez, won the Civic Learning Award of Merit. And Richardson, now under the direction of Keith Kuiper, California Gold Ribbon Award. So congratulations to each of them. We're very pleased with the schools. And then last Thursday, I attended the Arrowhead United Way Awards. We were one of the very few districts that received such an award. The Live United Award was presented to us in appreciation for our year-round partnership with them and commitment to improve the quality of life in San Bernardino. So I'll pass that around for you to take a look at. And then I also want to mention that we had the visit of our U.S. Department of Secretary of Ed. As you know, last Friday she paid her respects to the students, staff of North Park, as well as to the families, and spent time visiting with them. And I want to just thank her for her visit. I also spoke with Tom Torlakson, our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, last night. He also plans a visit to our district this week. He would have been here sooner, I understand, but he had a brand new grandbaby that he promised to be there for, and so that, I said he was excused. And then also, I want to recognize one of our own for 2017 honoree for providing opportunities to the community as we pursue economic justice, awarded by the NAACP for our own Dr. Keenan Mitchell. So congratulations, Dr. Keenan Mitchell. I received this on his behalf, and so I'll officially pass it over. Good job.
That's great.
Congratulations to him and his leadership. And then, Board, as you know, just in a couple short days at the Arrowhead Springs Resort is our Making Hope Happen Foundation Gala. And before my final comment, I have additional good news from Ginger Ontiveros. If you want to share, Ms. Ontiveros, about the 21st Century Grants.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Marsden. Earlier this month, we were notified by the California Department of Education that our district has been awarded $10.4 million to expand and establish after-school and before-school programs at 14 of our schools district-wide. We were one of only 4 agencies in the state to receive grants in both categories of the 21st Century Awards, the CCLC, or Community Learning Centers, and the ASSETS program, which is the After School Safety and Enrichment for Teens program. So I need to take an opportunity to expand upon what Mr. Tillman was saying earlier about the leadership that Dennis Warman shows for his program. He and his staff really have put together a quality program that's competitive in competitions like this, and the proof is in the resources that he's being entrusted with to increase that effort, so.
Yeah, and this supports the board's goal to have more opportunities for students in after-school programs at a time when there's been a lot of cutting to after-school program funding. Being one of only 4 in the state of California is significant, and that is fantastic news.
Where does the money come from?
It's a federally funded program that's administered by the state of California.
Wow, nice.
Great, thank
And
you.
my final comment, Board, as you know, we've been keeping you abreast on next steps as we go forward in the healing process and next steps around safety going forward from April 10. And I have a preview for you of what we're going to share on May 8th at the Professional Development Center with a community-wide after-action review. And what you see here is, one, we will conduct an independent safety assessment done by a third party. We have already conducted school and department after-action reviews, and we're going to conduct on May 8th our community after-action review. That'll be co-facilitated by me and Dr. David Van Stralen. I'd invite you to attend. The after-action review process, as a way of reminder, is this document that I have here for you, and any members of the public that would like a copy, simply request that from my office. We'll be happy to forward that to you. And then in addition to that, you can see in this process flow a number of elements that we're considering, including the advice of outside expertise to weigh in on our ultimate plan. And then sometime in June, Board, we'll come before you and we'll have these experts weigh in out loud with us on recommendations, and then say, Board, what is it that you want to do in terms of your direction to inform policy, procedures, and the ongoing professional development of staff? So I wanted to mention those highlights to you tonight, and I believe those are all my comments. I'm sorry I was so long-winded tonight. Yeah, yes, you got this. The last, and I apologize, there's one last item. If you'll recall, I did request at the April 4th board meeting that we shift the June 20 board meeting to the June 27, and that will allow us to resolve a conflict with the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools Superintendent's Leadership Conference. So again, our board meeting in normally scheduled June 20 would shift to June 27. Those are all my comments.
Okay, Dr. Flores, thank you.
Yes, I was going to recommend, Board, that we ask the cadets to come to a board meeting so we could recognize them from
Del Vallejo.
Del Vallejo.
Great.
I think that's given the Del Vallejo's leadership under Mr. Perdome has really become, more, he's brought that school up. I would like to recognize so that the kids see that we're really, proud of them, yeah. And that's really significant, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Great suggestion. Unless there's any opposition from anyone here, we'll invite Del Viejo Cadet Corps. All right, good, thank you. For the May 8th event, because
Yes.
I won't be in town,
Yes.
is there going to be a video?
Yes, we will video that, and we will make that video available.
Good, thank you.
On May the 8th?
It'll be at 5:30, May 8th, at the Professional Development Center.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. It was scheduled to accommodate our timeline, which is before the baccalaureate. That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Flores, anything else?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay, thanks. All right, session 10.0 is consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Before we vote, anything to be pulled?
Just for clarification, 10.12, 10.14, and 10.15.
12, 10.14, 10.15,
And 10.22.
and 10.22. 12, 14, 15, Dr. Flores and Ms. Rogers. Anyone else? All right, it's been moved and properly seconded, Board, so let's vote. Thank you. Dr. Flores, 10.12.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I know that we don't have a firm policy. It's just word of mouth in terms of giving our local community businesses, the bids, even though we say we want the lowest bid. The next highest or lowest bid was from Highland, California, which is just, down the road. And Riverside is, 12 miles away? But I just wanted to apprise the board of that. And maybe perhaps in the future, we can make a policy. I don't know if it's legal, but I would like to sometime look into that policy where we prioritize our local businesses so
I
that
can
money
have
comes back
Mr.
into.
Stocco can speak to that.
Yes,
Just
okay.
briefly, it may be helpful.
All right.
So all the bids are posted on the district website, and we reach out to the Hispanic News, the Black Voice, so that they receive auto notifications on all the bids. Also, most recently, Ms. Love held a small business workshop last week with Wilma Carter, to really help the local businesses. So we could always do better, but I do think we make a good effort in contacting our local vendors. And we'll give you some information on that and what all the things that we are doing and provide some recommendations on how we can
Right,
do that.
for policy change. Is it, I guess I'm asking a legal question. Can we?
We've looked into this over and over again. You can't do it at schools. Because
No.
the county has a program where they can give extra weight to local vendors.
Uh-huh,
In the past, it's been legally, school districts cannot do it.
we cannot?
You have to go to the lowest bid unless you can rule out the bid because of material reasons, right?
Right.
But what about hiring local as well, within, so that they can hire local? Contracting companies
You
that can
can't.
hire local?
You can't do it.
It's always based on the lowest bid?
Right.
It is.
And one of the things I know the community colleges worked on, if it's within a certain percentage, they could, if it's a local, I guess it's called local preference. I know at community college, I don't know if we need to take a look at theirs and,
We'll get some information to you on that.
okay,
Right.
good, thank you.
And I also wonder, it just came to a thought, it's too much to do, but I wonder how many low bids we have given, and then they come back and they up it, 10%. And then again, 10%. So, because they needed more money, I'm just wondering out loud. Okay, thank you. So moved.
Thank you. All right, let's vote. Board? Thank you. Dr. Flores, 10.14.
Just for clarification, and I guess this is for you, Dr. Marsden. I did attend a core presentation, and I was really impressed with the type of data that was available. And I just wonder, the depth and breadth of, is this just for comparative analysis?
Correct.
Okay, this is just for comparative analysis with other districts?
Correct.
On these
So
certain
we're each
data?
talking about the same data from district to district.
From district to district, so that we can
Participates.
compare our
Allows
achievement.
for colleague-to-colleague discussion.
Okay, all right, all right. And I also, okay, that's great. So moved.
Let's vote. Thank you. Dr. Flores, 10.15.
I just wanted to say that I'm really happy that this item is on here, because I think a year ago or so, or two, I had shared this with Dr. Volkemer and Dr. Marsden in terms of the work at Harvard related to social emotional survey data on students and teachers and administrators. And so I'm really, really happy that this is on here, because their work is so stellar in terms of the, of looking at not just the climate, the culture climate, but looking at the social and emotional aspects of our stakeholders.
Thank you.
So I just want to make that comment. So moved.
Second.
Let's vote. Thank you. 10.22, Ms. Rogers.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment and also kind of publicly thank Annie Applegate. I know she's working with the parents, and we have our ELAC actually is going on the Underground Railroad tour, study tour. So I'm just excited about that, and they'll be able to come back and share and give some information. I know, Abigail, it's memorable, and all of you that have went. So this is a next step. This is a next step that they went forward. So shout out to them, and I'm grateful for that.
So move.
Let's vote. Thank you. Okay. Session 11, 11.0, action items, 11.1, personnel report number 20, dated May 2nd, 2017, and the word is?
As presented.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Let's vote. 11.2, resolution. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Ms. Rogers has a light on.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I think, Dr. Hill, I don't think your vote got registered. How'd you vote?
I'm sorry?
Your vote didn't get registered, I don't think. Did her
My
vote come
didn't
through?
register.
You were an aye.
Okay.
Please let the record reflect an aye from
Yeah,
Dr.
please. Thank you. Okay, thanks. I lost my button.
So Board, just as a reminder, we do have a couple public comments on item 11.2. So what the Board would do now is consider a motion a second, and then you would open the item for discussion as you normally would any item. You may want to have staff or council dialogue with you. You may want to hear from the public comments first and then have that dialogue, but that would be the process.
Is it the,
So I'll make a motion. So moved.
okay, so
We have the
11.2,
discussion,
resolution to deny the charter petition for STEAM and Swing Charter School. Motion been made, seconded.
Now in discussion?
Okay. We will, do you want for us to have a
We can
discussion
have-
first, or do you want the,
You know, we can have the public make their comment
public.
first, and then once the public is done with their comments, then it might be wise for the Board to speak then with.
okay.
So Board welcomes, we have Ray Curtis, Jason Watts, and JT Vishal. So welcome.
Good evening, Superintendent Marston.
Good evening, sir.
Madam President, Dr. Hill.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Ray Curtis, and my portion of this presentation is to approach on the leadership aspect. And how I'd like to do that is give you my familiarity with San Bernardino City Schools. After I retired at 38 years in the business of helping kids and communities, I substituted from San Bernardino to Palm Springs. And I was a long-term sub at Barton Elementary School under the supervision of retiree Miss Dorothy Fenster, great principal. Also, during my time in association with San Bernardino City, I spoke at Richardson Prep in the career day, great school, great kids. So I have the familiarity with the district, being from Banning. And my background, I started in Banning, worked up and did the chairs. I've served as a K-6 elementary principal, assistant superintendent, one of the largest K-6s in San Diego County, all the way up to Salinas. I'm saying this because I have a wide diversity of student population and staff population. And as the leadership role as the principal and other duties is assigned for this charter, I put on my personnel hat of recruitment, and I have an array of teachers that are ready to serve, qualified teachers to serve students. I've also been a grant writer, a Banning School Board member, Beaumont School Board member, and presently Riverside County Board of Education trustee. Why is this important? The innovative approach of the charter aspect, bringing in the first tee situation. When I was in Salinas, I saw it work. And, you know, I'm like from Missouri, show me. K-6 schools. Number one, kids were not going to school. You walked down the principal's office and you saw kids out there for discipline. The first T component came into the educational arena, attendance rose, academic scores rose. One of the things you have going for this and why I got involved is because of Mr. Bistful and Ms. Tyler. They are San Bernardino people. They want to give back to the community, and I want to help them give back to the community. It's a very rarity that you have individuals that come back and want to open a charter school. I know there's one in here already of a gentleman that's from the community. So that is why I'm involved with this. The first T component was brought into the arena as a part-time. And in dialoguing and collaborating, we came up with the idea to expand it in what better way into an academic setting. This would start at 8:30 in the morning, by the way. Parents want good things for their children. We all do. And I really believe the Brighton Hill STEAM and Swing Charter will provide those educational alternatives for the students. You know, we talked about, I heard it tonight, education is about the kids and about collaboration. And one of your mission components out there is learning experiences beyond the traditional boundaries. And I know as a board you endorse that because you have other charters out there. So all those things being said, my portion is part of sharing with you the leadership experience that I've had that I could have in building a team of qualified individuals that are going to service the different mixture of students and staff in San Bernardino City Schools. So that being said, I would ask for your consideration. I may offer you the option at the end of the presentation to please consider to provide that, grant the petition, providing that the commencing instruction will not begin until there is an agreement of an MOU between San Bernardino City Schools and the charter organization. So I thank you for your time. Any questions on my piece?
No, thank you so much.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Jason Watts. I'm the founder and CEO of an organization called Charter Boost. I've been in education for about 20 years as a teacher, administrator, and charter school operator. And I was asked over a year ago now, at least, to sit down and talk to the Brighton Hill team, the STEAM and Swing charter team. And they asked for my help in this process. And I've been, again, around education for a long time, know a lot about charter schools. And I think that one of the things that we want to continue to do in education is bring forth novel, unique, and creative programs to kids. I am a huge proponent of school choice, but to me, school choice is not charter schools solely. Being someone who started in the private school system, I was a teacher and administrator in a district, then moved to charter schools. I've seen great schools at every level, every capacity. And so it's always frustrating for me to hear the kind of back and forth between charters and districts when really, and we know the challenges that are inherent just by the nature of the relationships, but ultimately, I think we're all trying to do the best for kids and bring the best top quality programs to the students of this community. We're very honored to have this opportunity. I've also had the chance to, over some time, work with Chris Tickell on a number of different matters relating to charter schools in this district. And I've always respected him, and he's always done a great job, so I appreciate the staff's work on this petition. Of course, that brings us to the actual findings, and I have to obviously be up here not only in defense of the school staff here, the petitioners, but also kind of point out some things that we don't necessarily agree with in the findings. As Mr. Curtis shared, one of the things that the petitioners are open to, because they are a very flexible team, is doing whatever it takes to work cooperatively with the district, with the staff. If that means entering into some kind of a memorandum of understanding which provides more clarity on either operations, on any fiscal matters, on whatever would be typical in a memorandum of understanding, which is, as we know, very common. And I know the number of charter schools you have in your district. They're, again, very open to doing that. Just wanted to point out some of the contentions we have with some of the findings. On page 3 of the document that you were given, one of the findings talks about the signatures not being valid any longer. Well, first of all, there's a requirement for signatures that must be submitted with the petition. Now, in the case that the petition had to be resubmitted, then of course everything would start all over again, the timeline, et cetera. But this was not a resubmission. As the agenda points out, this was actually a request, a mutual agreement between the district and the petitioners that would simply extend a timeline for the board to take action. That's the language in your agenda. So that would not negate the signatures that were submitted. Any district has the opportunity, mutually agreed upon by the petitioners, to be able to make any changes to the petition once submitted if it's mutual. Again, this is not a resubmission. Furthermore, on that same page, there's discussion about GLAD strategies. Those are strategies that are typically, not typically, they are designed to help support English learners, to provide greater instructional support in the classroom. The finding specifically talks about and mentions a lack of language in regards to certification. This is one of those things that just because a petition doesn't say the teachers would be certified doesn't mean they wouldn't do it. It's, in my view, as someone who's read many charters, kind of common sense that, of course, the teachers would go through necessary trainings that are required, whether it's GLAD or any other program. On page 4 of the document you were given, there's mention of GATE, which is Gifted and Talented Program. Well, a number of years ago, unlike English, the ELD program, special education, GATE became no longer a mandated program. So technically, it's an optional program, the program itself, for schools. And of course, nearly every school should differentiate for gifted learners, identify those students, differentiate for them, and make sure they are having their abilities maximized. And ultimately, there is no mandate that the petitioners have their staff certificated in this regard, which I would probably guess that in this district, every single teacher who is in that classroom is not GATE certificated, nor would I expect them to be because they don't need to. It does not mean they don't differentiate for them and provide those students support. The number 4 item on that same page talks about the Section 504, and that there's a failure to accurately identify the legal language which identifies students who are eligible for Section 504. However, my contention with that would be that's a very lengthy section in the petition. It's very explanatory in terms of the process. And more importantly, on page 85 of the petition, it states that the petitioners will comply with all applicable state and federal laws in serving students with disabilities, including Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. So I think that's very clear that they would abide by all laws in regards to that specific finding. Let me kind of jump around. I apologize based on time here. One of the other concerns is on page 8 and 9. This is related to Government Code 1090 and essentially the petitioner's adherence to the conflict of interest requirements for charter schools, as well as the Brown Act. There are numerous places within the petition and elsewhere in the appendices where the petitioners state that they will comply with Government Code 1090. Currently the organization is not a charter school, so they're not technically bound by the Brown Act until they are approved to operate as a charter school. But upon approval, they do understand their obligation to abide by the Brown Act fully. And as such, any concerns that are related to the Brown Act would be adhered to. Again, that could be something that's further identified and clarified in a memorandum of understanding. So ultimately, thank you for your time. We could go through every single item. We don't have enough time to do that. But we are open to questions, any concerns that you have that you would like to have further clarified, and just hope that ultimately you can see the value of this program and what it can bring to the community. And again, the petitioners are very open and willing to work collaboratively with the district. As we know, they're very experienced with a number of charter schools here in this district. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is J.T. Visbal, and I'm the leader of this group of the Steam and Swing Charter. And we appreciate the opportunity to talk this evening, and I'll be brief because I have 2 minutes and 45 seconds. One of the most important things I've realized in my business career of over 30 years is strategically understanding my strengths and those maybe that would be weaknesses. And so in recognizing that, what I have tried to do is assemble experts in our field to be part of this charter school. And as an example, you can see that we have Ray Curtis, who's been a deputy superintendent. He's on the board of the Riverside County Board of Education, in addition to being a teacher. I have Pam Tyler, my partner, who has been an executive director for 4 nonprofits, successful nonprofits in this area, co-founder of the First Tee of the Inland Empire with me. In addition, we have a back office company, CSMC, which is recognized as one of the top 1 or 2 back office organizations in the state that's going to be working with us. And finally, I'll mention Jason Watts, who, in addition to being a charter school owner, has worked with over a dozen different charter schools and helping them be qualified and be great representatives of the community and work with the school boards within their particular areas. My particular background that I had not mentioned, I have a teaching credential that I received from Cal State San Bernardino. Had the privilege of working with Cal State San Bernardino, and I taught at Pacific High School, and I taught at Shannon Hills Junior High School. So I have a teaching background as well. In addition to that, I've owned my own successful advertising agency. I worked with Carl's Jr.'s was my largest account. We worked with Fortune 100 companies. I created the John R. Wooden Classic, which I mentioned in one other opportunity, that is an event that was recognized worldwide as one of the finest sporting events in college basketball ever, named after the legendary coach John Wooden. In addition to that, and the proudest thing I can say is creating the First Tee of the Inland Empire, which we've worked with over 400 kids in this area. We're going to be headquartered at the San Bernardino Golf Course, and we're going to be working with thousands of kids in this community, and particularly we're going after and working with underserved kids. Because I don't care if a kid hits a golf ball straight, but what I do care about is they know what honesty and integrity and respect and courtesy means. That's what that program's about. So in closing, I want to say that both Pamela and I went to school here from kindergarten to 12th grade. My father, who Dr. Hill graciously recognized, was a teacher in this district for 37 years, a distinguished teacher here. And Mr. Tillman, you mentioned in one of our earlier meetings that you implored some students to go away to school, come back and help this community. That's what we're doing. That's what this is about. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hill. I guess I have a question of our team. Has the petitioner been provided with an opportunity to address these issues and concerns that were identified by the district and deficiencies and an opportunity to correct them?
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent. Suki Oluwalia with Atkinson Andelson. In response to your question, Mr. Gallo, can I just back up one step to talk about the process and how we got to here, where we are today? So after the petition was submitted, there was a determination made by the district staff and our office that there were a number of deficiencies with respect to the educational program, the operational program, and there were significant concerns in which the manner the school was going to be governed. So based on that, we prepared a resolution of denial, and that resolution was submitted to the petitioners, and they took a look at it, and I think, as you can attest from their comments tonight, there were a number of the findings with which they concurred. And so as a result of that, there was a decision that was made between the district staff as well as the petitioners to withdraw the item for consideration at the last board meeting, and it was to be presented tonight. So on April 25th, which was just a couple of, not that long ago, they submitted revised bylaws, a revised charter petition, as well as provided some additional information as to how we got here today. Now, in response to the information that we received, we did not have any direct communications with them. We simply analyzed the petition, the revised petition, the bylaws, as well as the other information, and then made a recommendation to the board. And that resolution was provided to the petitioners on Friday. So that's the manner in which we communicated with them.
Anyone else? Do you have the document they handed to us today?
I do.
Looking at page 11, just above number 2 of the board meetings, I was reading their response to petitioners will comply with Government Code 1090. Currently, the organization is a nonprofit not bound by the Brown Act. So when will that change? Because I know we have to certainly be in compliance with the Brown Act. And I think all of our other charter schools are. So does this become, I guess at what point do they have to be in compliance with the Brown Act?
Well, a couple of things. So let's take a look at what they responded with on page 11, and then let's also take a look at what they provided on page, something that had just, because I just got this, at the bottom of page 8 and continuing to page 9. So initially, when they first submitted the charter petition, it was unclear what bylaws were going to govern the school. It was maybe this, the first team, maybe it was going to be this one, maybe there were going to be some new bylaws. So they attempted to address that issue. And what they did was they submitted amended bylaws. And they say in the charter that they will comply with Government Code 1090 to the extent applicable. By putting that caveat in there, what they're suggesting is that they will decide at a later time to which they actually are 1090 does or does not apply to them. Now, you have to read the petition that they've submitted in conjunction with the bylaws that they've submitted. And in their cover email that they sent on the 25th, they said if the petition is approved, these bylaws will be adopted. The bylaws provide specifically and clearly no more than 49% of the directors serving on the board may be interested persons. What that means is up to 49% of the people that are on that board can have a financial interest in that school. So when you look at their response on page 8, it's clear that they don't understand how 1090 applies to this particular school. And it's a little bit surprising when you look at their April 25th correspondence because they say, we've consulted with the legal counsel. I don't know who their legal counsel is, but anybody would tell you that a bylaw that provides that up to 49% of the people can be interested members does not in any way, shape, or form comply with 1090. Additionally, they have again indicated in their assurances in the petition that they will comply with the Brown Act. Yet when you take a look at their bylaws that they just submitted and that they said that they'll adopt as soon as you approve the petition, it says any action permitted to be taken may be taken without a meeting. That's a clear violation of Brown Act. So what I'm saying is they promised that this document would be adopted as soon as you approve the charter petition. Clearly, that document is inconsistent with the assurances in the petition and is inconsistent with the terms of the law. And that is the document that would govern the school.
Okay, Mr. Gallo.
Yes, let's see, the petitioner identified possibility of a MOU that would in some way add to this petition or address some of the issues, and I'm not sure I quite understand that. Approving charter petition and then subsequently amending it through some MOU process that would basically be a revision to the charter through the MOU? Can you articulate?
Sure. There are times and instances in which we do have MOUs that are approved. For example, many of the charters that you've approved and authorized, they serve as schools of the district for special ed purposes. So we have MOUs to define the roles and responsibilities for those specific purposes. Given the level depth of the deficiencies in this petition, I don't think that they can be addressed through an MOU. There has to be a wholesale revision of the charter petition itself, and to make sure that the charter, the bylaws, the conflict of interest policy, all of those documents have to be consistent. Because you'll remember, charter schools are exempt from almost all provisions of the education code. So if there's something that's not in a charter petition, it's not going to be enforceable by you. Additionally, what I would suggest to you is that once a charter petition has been approved, it's very difficult to negotiate the terms of an MOU. And it's our recommendation that if the board is inclined to grant any charter petition, then we work to make it a petition that has addressed the deficiencies so that the charter document is a clean document.
Well, and I think that's the whole point of actually having a charter department, is that is the intent of the district and board, is to see appropriate charter petitions come to this board, and you know, us to approve new innovative instructional strategies, et cetera. So I mean, this board has shown its certainly its commitment there to do that, and I think the fact that you know, we've afforded those opportunities for petitioners to discuss it directly with our district personnel it shows the intent of the board anyway. So,
well, and you also allowed them to submit new information. Generally, we don't accept new information during the petition review process, but in this instance, they submitted that information, and we looked at all of that.
So what could be, possibly be the next steps for the charter?
Well, if the action of the board is to deny the petition tonight, they have the opportunity to appeal that decision to the county board. They also have the opportunity to resubmit the petition to the district.
Okay. And this is a charter school, if it would pass, scheduled to open in August of 2017?
Yes,
or
they want to
18?
open it this year.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone?
well, let me just ask a question. If they were to resubmit to the district, would that timeline still be applicable and achievable?
It could, because what the state provides is that if a charter school opens between July 1st and September 30th of the first year, they'll be eligible for all the on-time apportionments. So it could.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Rogers?
So on that same line, so if they are starting over, they're basically taking this framework of everything that you have been in discussion with on what they need to do?
Well, as you'll note in the resolution, it specifically provides that the findings that are contained in the resolution are not all of the findings. I don't think that it's appropriate in any kind of setting to have, 30 or 40, 50 pages of, findings. The law only requires one finding, so these are some of the most significant findings. The resolution specifically states that. So there would be an expectation on our part that they would take a look at the entire document, take a look at the comments that have been made, take a look at some of the other, petitions that the board has approved. You've got 13 of them, so there's a few documents out there that they could take a look at and make sure that all the documents that they submit are consistent.
And that would basically be starting over, but you said the time frame may not be a long-term timeline?
It'll be the same timeline again. So the board has 30 days to hold a public hearing and 60 days to take action to approve or deny. And we would, of course, there was a comment that was made about signatures earlier. We would expect new signatures for this petition. And the reason why we would expect new signatures for this petition is because one of the basic requirements for submitting a charter petition is having either parent or teacher signatures. And the copy of the petition has to be submitted to those individuals for review and consideration. When there is such a significant change made in the governance of that school, they were obligated to provide new signatures and get those individuals who were on board back in November and February to make sure that they were on board with the way that it was going to be governed now.
Okay, thank you.
So what we're looking at is either the charter school can make all the changes that you made reference to tonight, and we could start over, and they'll still get another 30 days to get this in to us. Or they can take what they have, that if they feel is genuine without making these changes, and take it to county schools.
Yeah. The only comment that I'll make on that is that in terms of their desire to resubmit it to us, there's no timeline. So there's no 30 days for them. So they could submit it tomorrow, they could submit it 6 months from now, they could submit it a year from now, whenever they desire to submit it.
Okay.
And again, I reiterate, it's not just the things that are in the resolution. This resolution specifically says these are not all the findings.
Okay, and Mr. Tikel, you would be available to just work with them as you do with any charter school?
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Mr. Gallo?
Yeah, just one more. Would you be prepared to share the rest of the findings with the petitioner, should they request?
That would be direction that I would need from the board, perhaps in another setting.
Okay.
Dr. Flores?
On the floor? Yes. Is there a motion?
Yes.
In order to have the discussion, I made a motion, which is the motion
Right,
to deny,
yeah.
was seconded in
Okay.
order to have the
We did.
All
discussion.
right, now I call for the vote.
So just so everyone's clear, if you vote yes, that means you're voting to deny. If you vote no, then that means you don't want to deny, just so everybody's clear.
Okay. So a yes vote is a denial. But even with that, there's still an opportunity for corrections to be made and could bring it back. Okay. All right, with that, let's vote. Okay. Thank you, board. Thank you, gentlemen, for just being here with us. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, young lady. That was 11.3.
I think that's it.
Is that it? That was it. I think that's the only one there. That was the only one there, I believe. Okay.
Yeah, you're 12, yeah, you're
I'm sorry.
12.0.
Yeah, okay. Session 12, 12.0 is closed session, and we will not be reporting out. Want to say thanks to all of you and for the women around. Just want to say Happy Mother's Day. I believe that will have come and gone before. So, thank you, everybody. And what time is it?
8:56.
8:56. Thank you.